Hi there, Hina. My name is Ellen, and I'll be correcting this essay for you today. Let's take a look at what you've done here. Let's see. This is the essay about ex-prisoners, and let's see what you said about this, okay? Okay, indeed, the story of criminals who became good citizens after being released from prison is encouraging. While I understand why supporters feel these people are the ideal candidates to influence youngsters and keep them from committing crimes, I believe there are many other better alternatives. Okay, on the whole, I like this. I like the fact that you were very clear about your position. I like that you made it a complex sentence. You said, while I understand, on the whole, I think this. That was a great way to do this. This way, you're allowed to kind of cover both sides, and I think that's a good thing to do. A couple of comments though. I don't like your starting the essay with indeed. This really belongs like in the middle of a paragraph somewhere. It certainly doesn't belong as the first word in your essay, not in an introduction. So a language like this would best be in the middle of a paragraph somewhere. So you could have really just left it out, and then here it should have been, I believe there are many other better alternatives. Let's see how you actually develop this. A true story is better than a million reasons. It is undeniable that asking a person to share his own experience, especially the one who was once in jail, is an invaluable method for educating teenagers on the dark side of wrongdoing against the law. As a result, children could learn the consequences of law breaking and avoid making the same mistakes. Okay. Um. So some interesting stuff happening in this paragraph, but it's underdeveloped and there's not really a lot of strong linking between the ideas. So you've got this sentence here: a true story is better than a million reasons. Okay, what's your point? What are you trying to tell us? What's the message here? So this is a kind of statement that really deserves a sentence after it, like that is, or like that is to say that um, someone's experience someone's experience is far more valuable um as or yeah, how about this, that is to say that someone's own experience is an invaluable resource for educating teenagers on the dark side of wrongdoing against the law. And then go a step further and explain to us how you kind of quantify this. So, why is it so invaluable? Why is it so much more effective? And you can throw in like a statistic. You could say that um, when students learn things coming from firsthand experience, it's far more effective than if they just learn things from a theoretical kind of objective way. Or you can give like a personal example if you have one, okay? You could say, knowing from myself, I learned far better from other people's mistakes than I did from just kind of theoretical things that I was told, okay? So there are a bunch of ways you could have done that, but you absolutely needed to extend it a little further. You also needed to link a little better. In general, though, the paragraph is underdeveloped. And how do we know this rather than, apart from just the things that I mentioned to you? Well, look at the length for one thing. Look at this paragraph compared to the other one. This one is over twice as long. And why is that important? Well, if you look at the band descriptors under task achievement, you'll see that it says covers all parts of the task, but some parts are covered more than others. I believe that's at the band 6. And that's what we're dealing with here. You've covered this a little bit, not a lot though, okay? And you covered this considerably more. You really do want your paragraphs to be relatively equal in length so that the examiner sees that you've spent an equal amount of time and effort on developing all parts of the argument, okay? So yeah, this definitely needed more work here. And another clue is just look at this paragraph compared to the introduction. It's just one line longer than the introduction, which should be a kind of clue to you. It should be a hint that this is probably too short, needed to be further expanded. Okay. Um, and one of the things you could have done, in addition to what I have already said, is you could have used some of the proper sentence components that belong in an introduction. In a body paragraph. For example, you don't really have a topic sentence here. So we have this rather dramatic sentence here. And while I like it, it doesn't really allow you to structure the paragraph effectively. So you could have said something like, there are a number of reasons why using ex convicts to educate youth could be effective. First of all, a true story is better than a million reasons. That is to say that when a person shares his own experience, it is invaluable for educating teenagers on the dark side of wrongdoing against the law. For example, statistics have shown that firsthand experience is more effective in proving a point than reading books on the same topic. Therefore, it is clear that children could, etc., etc., etc. So you can see I'm doing a little more with this to properly structure it, okay, and to put it in the right kind of structure to create a good, strong paragraph here. Okay, so moving on to your next paragraph. Let's see. However, many other alternatives are as prevalent and important as criminals' firsthand experience, if not better. Firstly, the parents play a vital role when it comes to discipline education and rule abiding daily. Discipline education. All right, that's not a collocation, so you have to be careful with that. It is essential that the parents set up role models and good examples for their kids, as well as give punishment if they misbehave. Secondly, school class is the best place to create awareness among young people, especially high school students. For instance, hold on a second, a moral and basic law curriculum offered by a seasoned teacher would deliver the knowledge and concept in a systematic approach. Lastly, the internet has a vast influence on teenagers' lives due to its 24/7 online presence. An extensive awareness campaign can be initiated to teach ethical values and reinforce them. Okay, so what I really want to do right now is kind of reevaluate this, look at this to see how many reasons you came up with and how you actually developed them. You see, this is not a test of how many ideas can you come up with, but how well do you develop the ideas that you actually present. So for that reason, it's actually better to write one, maybe two reasons, but actually support them in a nice full way. From what I can see here, you've got a firstly, you've got a secondly, and you've got a lastly. That's probably too much. You probably should have stuck to one or two reasons maximum. But let me look at it one more time and tell you what I think is strong and what I think needs a little work. So I looked through your paragraph again, and you did what is in many ways a textbook kind of analysis here, but it's really just not enough. Like I said, you had three reasons here, and that's just far too many because what ended up happening was you didn't actually delve into any of them with any real depth. So remember what the topic is, first of all. It's if they are the best people, if ex prisoners are the best people to talk about crime. So, what you are now suggesting to us is that other people are better. Okay. So, firstly, the parents play a vital role when it comes to discipline education. No, when it comes to teaching discipline and rule abiding daily. This is because parents set up role models and good examples, but that's not enough. You have to say why all of this, we know what parents do. What you have to tell us is why this makes parents more effective than the ex prisoners, okay? So this is not what you're answering feels like something a little different. It feels like you're answering how can parents teach children rules and how to abide by rules. That's not what the essay is asking you. They're asking you essentially who is better to prevent crime in teenagers. Is it are the best people ex-criminals? And you're saying no, they're not. You're saying that parents are better. So what you could have done here is you could have maybe made a comparison with why parents are better in this role than the ex-prisoners. Okay. So, for example, it is essential that parents set up role models and good examples for their children, as well as give punishment. Such methods could not possibly be used by ex-prisoners because yeah, and then tell me why. Okay, so do you see what I'm doing? I'm giving your suggestion, and then I'm going a step further to say why the suggestion in this prompt, which is the ex-prisoners, why it's not an effective situation. Okay, why it's not an effective solution. Okay, and then you said not school class, but we actually said classrooms are the best place to create awareness. Now, you have to be careful with this too, because nobody ever questioned the classroom as an effective place, but actually the person or people giving this education. So I don't know if you necessarily meant the classroom or maybe you meant teachers. So, secondly, teachers are also the best people to create awareness. Do you understand what I mean? So, you're talking about the space where this happens, but the essay is actually asking you about the people doing this. And so, I wanted this a little different. Okay. Uh, so not so much focus on the class itself or the curriculum, but rather this seasoned teacher. This is what you need to be focusing on. All right. Again, just to go back to this, it says the best people to talk to teenagers about the dangers of crime. So you can see how when you look at it like that, this talk about the class and about the curriculum, okay, the systematic approach to the knowledge is not helpful. What you need to be focusing on is the teacher and why this seasoned teacher is far better than any ex convict. Okay? And again, you talked here about the internet. I thought you really should have left this out. I thought this was the weakest argument of all. I mean, nobody will argue with you that the internet is like a vast neverland of information of all kinds. So it would be really difficult to argue that the internet is the best teacher against crime. Okay. So I would have left that out and I would have focused on the other two things, but again, focusing on them within the frame that I'm suggesting here. All right, so let's look at your conclusion. In conclusion, although a former jailed person may be a good resource to teach youngsters, parents, teachers, and online platforms can be used more effectively to deter them from committing crimes. Okay, so one of the nice things I'm seeing here is that you've got some really good vocabulary, you've got some really good grammar, so all that is wonderful. It means you've got good language skills. What we have to now do together is take these language skills and put them together with good writing skills. Okay, so um, writing skills that will help you achieve good task achievement, good coherence and cohesion, so that you can get the score you need. Those are the two elements for me that are missing here. Primarily, I want to say task achievement, but to some degree, coherence and cohesion as well, because some of this linking was not great. I thought it could have been a little better. So that should give you a lot of information about this particular task too, where it is, where it stands, not just in terms of band scores, but just in terms of the things that you need to work on in order to have a really solid, well scoring essay. So that pretty much brings us to the end of this correction. I want to encourage you to sign up for some more if, let's see, only writing. Okay. I want to encourage you to sign up for some more essay corrections with us if you enjoyed this feedback, of course. I think that together we can give you some feedback on how to improve and prepare well for the IELTS, okay? So definitely take a look at that and see if that's something that interests you. I want to wish you tons of luck, and I want to thank you for sending this in. So best of luck to you with your IELTS preparation.